Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Fishah binti Ahmad, and today I'm going to present about Culture and Innovative Center of Spice and Herb. My proposal is Culture and Innovative Center of Spice and Herb. So Spice and Herb is the origin culture, and it also been fading culture because it's already been overtaken. So everyone has different definition for culture, which can be seen in people or in their lifestyles, because Muar is very multicultural city, so it can be presented by a lot of things. For me, based on my research, Muar is definitely one of the spice and herb, which is agricultural culture. So why people came to Muar? So how people move to Muar and where do people stay Muar? It's all about the spice and herb, which is spice and herb does connect people by encouraging human interaction within inside and outside. Site study. On Bandar Maharani in 1880, after Jementah Civil War, Maharaja Abu Bakar start to develop Muar by introducing kancu system and encourage captain to set up a gumbi and paper plantations. So spice and trade does grow in popularity and attract many traders such as India. The second one is the district, which is on the Bandar Maharani districts. That is a lot of traditional business and leisure business, which has been adapt for the people needs and service. The third one is cultural node. Surrounding at Bandar Maharani, it does have many of the places, attractions such as Muar E-Culture, Travel Info and Center Muar Culture Walks, and so on. The last one is the decline in traditional trades and culture. The lowest one on the vacants, but the highest is the commercial trades. Our site was located at Bandar Maharani, Muar Johor. The site was located beside Muar River. So surrounding our site, it has many kind of cultural nodes. The one that's famous is the food streets and the mural art streets. Surprisingly, our site does have facilities such as pedestrians and a bridge for people to connect between each different plots. Moreover, our neighborhood contact does have a wet market and a shopping mall, and also the shop block, which is it has a high density of people, but it lack of prominent public space for local and tourists together. The first one is Mewah Oil Headquarter, located at Selangor, Malaysia. The architect was Hamzah and Young. So this significant project are vegetation becomes internalized. So in contrast of tropical project where the planting largely located outside the building, but for this project, it located within, inside and outside of transitional spaces. So this main feature does has a continuous landscape ramp, which is rise from the ground level to the rooftop level. So this does incline the garden serve as the internal lungs by improving the air of the buildings while providing biophilic benefit for the building. Second one is Taishan Sichuan Fruits Vegetable Market, location on Taiwan. The architect is MVRDV. So this architecture was focusing on the food industry. What's special about it? Because it's a place for the public to experience the foods while appreciate the view of the landscapes. The open plan, the plan is very open, which is to allow the natural ventilations. Why is success? Because in the program it does include the consumer and producer, and the rooftop it provides the space for social interaction while producing the foods, and it also focusing on keeping the product local and being a center for the education. The third one is the Sky Green, located at Singapore. So the Sky Green was built for Singapore land scarce city, which is to ensure the food supplies. It also is one of the world's first low carbon, which is hydraulics driven vertical farms, which is it used methods such as use less water, land and energy, because it used a green urban technology to achieve 3R, reduce, reuse and recycle. So this does help to provide the agriculture solution and also to improving food security and food safety targets. And the last one is to encourage the integration of the low carbon footprint agriculture, which is to turn into the urban lifestyles. The last one is Agrotopia Rooftop Greenhouse, located at Bellingham. The architect was the Van Bergen Kolpa architect and Meta architects. So these are the projects that focus on the research center and vegetable cultivations, which is it's been designed on the rooftop. It has the fruit and vegetable wholesale market. So the project are the example of the urban food production for the nowadays, and because it use less space, less energy and less water, and it also design a greenhouse which is made of steel and glass, which is function consists of a research and facility. So this building does aim to work on improving the technology of the greenhouse and use less energy, water and spaces, and incorporate with circular economy and increasing the profit of the city itself, and also support and sustainable urban horticulture in the area. The issue will be combined between the Bandar Maharani with Muar districts. So it's been divided into three main points, which is agricultural, history and social. Main issue is the agricultural spice and herb, because Muar city was known as agricultural in the past, especially in spice and herb, which is nowadays Muar is also known as its delicious food such as otak-otak and mi bandung that contain spice and herb. So Muar does need a place for live, work and learns and play to act as the heart of the engine of the cities. So in the past, people are moving between the spice and herb trees, but nowadays people are moving between the building. So why spice and herb? We know that Muar is very multicultural cities, but for the tourism culture, it have the high publicity such as food, event and festival. But for the local culture, it have a very local publicity such as fishing and spice and herb. So from the inside interaction, we know that it's from the history, which is established country system. From the outside, it's known as a famous foods, and people will come for to interactions and bondings. So the spice and herb does connect people by giving the interactions, by providing famous foods, and it also an origin culture that has been fading. Finished with the first issue, we continue with the second issue, which is loss in historical fabrics. Muar is lost in historical identity, and Muar River does not connect with the inlands. So this local and tourists does not aware of the historical events. It does has existing and supporting building surrounding outside related to historical. For example, Muara 99 Hotel, it does has the explanation of the historical, but it only exposed to the hotel visitor, and it's a semi-public, semi-private access. It's only on the hotel registration. The second one is Muar History Foods store, which is these are only exposed to shop visitor and a semi-private access. The activity just more on the focusing on eating and gathering. The last one is the existing museum surrounding Muar. It's not very friendly. Fully private and does not provide any variety of activities. The place also has no interaction between surrounding context. The third issue is the fading culture of Muarians. Beside the historical value, Muar does have none of the diversity of traditional culture, which is foods, art and music. So this culture in Muar is still alive. Perhaps it's not vibrant as before, because most of the younger generation have left Muar for the bigger city or well developed. So this leads for the lack of impressions, lack of educations, explorations. So this does also heading for the gap between old and younger generations, because it does affect on the cultural issue, which is discontinue of inherence in traditional culture. So the last issue is limited entertainment and leisure sport, which is Muar is known as the dead town or retired town, because based on the data, the majority of the citizens are on the senior citizen, which is 41%, because it's surrounding at there, the activities does not inclusive for all age group. So this does have the lack on public spaces for the activities and the entertainment. At the end, these three main issues has been pointed out. My aim is to introduce the Culture Innovative Center of Spice and Herb, which is to bring new image for the Muar town and act as a new node to create a vibrant and well-planned city with a mixed developments and centralize the cultural asset. So the priorities will be on the agricultural spice and herb, and fostering the culture as the key contributor for the community. So the objective will be transform, connect mindset and the economic. For the user, I focus on the local, youngster, farmer and tourist. My client that I choose is Jabatan Pertanian Negeri Johor. So for the microeconomics, the funding will be NGO from Jabatan Pertanian Johor, where it supply the existing spice and herb seed from the local. So the building also will be the cultivates and expense of this spice and herb and allow local tourists to indirect assist the farming through activities. The next one will be the processing, which is social impact. People will understand how the food is grown. And the next one will be the market, which is the collect produce can be sold to the public and also provide a job for locals. The last one will be the consumer, which is local and tourists will have the experience of culture, spice and herb, like all people in war. The program idea will be consist of 3 columns, which is farming, producing and consuming. Farming will be consist of the main services of the program, which is greenhouse, vertical planting, farm tour, workshops and communal space. For producing will be on the processing, packaging, lab, loading, unloading and storage. And the last one is consuming, will be consist of market hub, exhibitions, cafe, restaurant, cultural performance. And the last one is a library. My concept is remembrance of horticulture. So living in 21st century, the society lacks of awareness of important great historical and cultural stories. So remembering it reminds the society of great histories of spice and herb. In 1880, agriculture is known as one of the famous encouraging capital set of gambir and pepper plantations in the country system. So agriculture is not only a sustainable economy, but it also a palimpsest historical of the culture, lifestyles and the community during that time. So the element will be combined between old and new by guiding and help the visitor to interpret the message and unfold the history in the correct manner. Horticulture is another word for the agriculture. So from the past, Muar is a place of the long history of agriculture, especially spice and herbs. So when you think of it, most of the food on our plate has a history behind it. So a long journey that we are unable to describe. So I like to use the form of visual and the spectling between the past, present and future, so becoming the point in the timeline of the place of the culture. So for the design strategy, which is our concept, our active and vibrant, which is it combined between culture, history, spice and herb and also the experience. The second one is the building will be on the open and free accessible public realm to create an intersection point from different directions. The third one is the concept of biophilics, which is a calm spaces. Its building will be surrounded by the green and garden, continuous interior landscapes. The fourth one will be the concept will be on the ground floor, it will be the public, and it goes to the upper floor, it starts to semi-public, and the last one will be the private one. So the concept for the material and the shape of building will be reflect on the surrounding context, which is the shop lot. It uses a local material, reflects on the surrounding context, which is using the pitch roof and still merge with the model influence to give a new identity. Conceptual diagram, it will be start on the side, it a linear forms, so the building will be reflects on the side shape, but on the center it will be provided by two to allow the accessible to approach the river, and it also become the center point for the market, bridge, river and the shop lot itself. For the zoning, at the center it will be open plaza surrounding by the green, which is park and waterfront for event and recreational activities. For the building will be have two, which is building A and building B. For the vehicle, visitors and services located at beside of the buildings. And for the view will be more facing to the waterfront Muar River. Form development, on the side, the building will be reflect with the side shapes, which is rectangular. On the accessible, the building will be divided by two, which is to create the connections, land and Muar River. The public realm is building A is a commercial activities, building B is more on the agricultural activities. So on the agricultural activities, the blue building will have the market on the ground floor. This market will be open and free, accessible for public realms. So the raised massing, the maximum height for my building is 3rd floor, and it will be the bridge to connect between the 2 different buildings. The view, which is I will extend the building program by facing towards to the rivers. The last one will be the green program on the side, which is to allow the surrounding local authorities to know the building as the marketing point to attract a visitor from the exterior view. From my side plan, we can see the parking on the right and left sides, which is the visitor parking is number 1, the right. The left is number 4, which is on the services vehicles. I choose not to put the parking on the center of the building because I want to encourage people from the shop lot to approach the Moa Rivers. So on the Moa River, we can see number 8 and number 9 is the recreational activities for the community to enjoy. The 5th and number 3 is including on the walkway, heritage, or maybe a park. On the 7th is where any kinds of event and performance will be held. For the ground floor plan, building A will be more on commercial activities such as shops, open kiosks, indoor activities, events, cafe and outdoor sittings. For the building B will be more on the agricultural spice and herb, such as we have the hawker stalls, food stalls, spice and herbs, and the open market spice and herb, and also have the gallery productions of the spice and herbs. At here also, it will be the space for services such as the products producing. On the first floor plans, building A will be more on the Moa culture, which is it will be have the exhibitions, the seminar talks, and the workshops for people to come in and learn. Also have the thematic galleries will be changed in every seasons. At the center, at the bridge, we'll have the open talks, which is it will be connect building A and building B. Building B will be more on the spice and herb, such as it will be has a lot of the greenhouse spice and herb. At the center of it, we have the number 18, which is the open workshops for people to learn more about the spice and herb. We also provide the cafe and spice and herb for the visitor to taste the foods that related to the spice and herb. Here also will be the services activities, which is on number 24, 25, and the rest, which is more on the utilities for the workers. This last floor plan is the second floor plans. Building A will be consist of the kids libraries, librarians staff area, lounge and sitting area. For the building B will be more library on the adult and teens. Here also will be held on the main office staff area. Here also we'll have the conference rooms and the discussion or meeting room where the maybe people or client come to discuss the program inside the buildings. So for the roof plan, will be consist of the rooftop gardens. And here the building mostly I will use the clay roof tiles, and for the greenhouse roof will be used more steel and glass. These are the detail of the roof, which is I will be using the pitch roof, and by including the clay roof tiles. These are also reflected on the neighborhood contact, which is the shop lot. For the interior perspective, the first one is a food stall and market spice and herb. Located at the ground floor, it's very open and accessible. The second and the third one is located at the first floor plans, which is the greenhouse spice and herb and the open workshop spice and herb.